Napoleon Bonaparte was born in 1769 to an Italian family. Because of natural talent, Napoleon was able to get into a prestigious military school. By using his talents in strategy, public speaking, and leadership, Napoleon greatly changed the political landscape of 19th century Europe. Napoleon was extremely successful in the French army, and in 1799, Napoleon took part in overthrowing the government. The new government set up was a republic, and being made consul, Napoleon held all of the power. By 1802, Napoleon was made consul for life. In 1804, he became Emperor Napoleon I. One of Napoleon's larger achievements was the coding of French law. Before, there were over 300 different legal systems in use in France. Napoleon united the nation by creating the Civil Code. This code preserved all of the rights that were won in the French Revolution. But because of the codification of these laws, a new bureaucracy was formed by Napoleon. The focus was to create a bureaucracy that was capable of its job. By creating the strong central government, Napoleon was able to forge France into an empire. In 1803, Napoleon was involved in a war against Britain, Austria, Russia, Sweden, and Prussia. In 1807, 4 years later, Napoleon's Grand Army defeated Austria, Prussia, and Russia. For the next 5 years, Napoleon was the master of Europe, and he focused on Britain. Because of its major sea power, Britain was able to resist France for a long period. All of the territories and countries Napoleon controlled were forced from trading with Britain. This not only caused outrage among Europeans, but Britain was forced to find new markets for their goods in the Middle East and Eastern Asia. This only made Britain come out stronger in the end. Napoleon, for a long time, had caused nationalism in France, but he had also aroused nationalism in other places in Europe. Nationalism is pride in one's own country and the unity that people have from it. Because of this, conquered people all over Europe under Napoleon's rule united against him. This was only the beginning of Napoleon's problems. Previously, when Napoleon stopped trade between Britain and Europe, some countries rebelled and traded anyways. One of those countries was Russia. Napoleon wanted to punish Russia for their insurgents. If he didn't, other countries might do the same thing. So, Napoleon invaded. He knew the risk of invading a country as large as Russia, but he felt he had no choice. In June of 1812, Napoleon's Grand Army of 600,000 men entered Russia. In retaliation, the Russians decided to burn everything: villages, fields, and cities. Finally, the French army reached Moscow, only to find it burned to the ground by the Russians. Soon after, Napoleon led his forces back out of Russia. It was early November and the Russian winter was beginning to set in. On the way back, thousands of soldiers froze and starved to death. Once they returned to their territory in Poland, only 40,000 of the original 600,000 were still alive. Because of this failure, many other European countries rose to rebellion against the crippled French. In March of 1814, Paris was captured. Napoleon was sentenced to exile on an island in the Mediterranean, and the rulers from before the French Revolution were restored to power. Napoleon was able to escape off the island, and rallying people across the country, was able to take back Paris on March 20th, 1815. But again, Russia, Britain, Austria, and Prussia were not pleased with Napoleon's rise to power. At Waterloo, a battle, Napoleon fought against a mixture of British and Prussian forces. Napoleon and his army suffered a terrifyingly bloody defeat. Again, Napoleon was exiled, except this time to a small island in the South Atlantic. Napoleon remained there until his death in 1821, but he had everlasting effects on the French and European governments. Remnants of Napoleon still lived on after his death. His civil code is thought to be his greatest accomplishment. Even after he died, it was used, and it ensured the rights that were given in the French Revolution. These rights also caused many other revolutions to occur in Germany, Prussia, Austria, and Italy. But Napoleon's military conquests were not short-lived either. The Napoleonic Empire lasted until 1870, under the rule of Napoleon's son and nephew. When he was alive, Napoleon was quoted, "There is no immortality, but the memory that is left in the minds of men." Napoleon was successful in that aspect. Even today, Napoleon inspires many great leaders of the world with his ambition and zeal of uniting a country to better the lives of its citizens, by working towards a sense of nationalism and preserving rights for all.
Created using Powtoon.